Hey everybody, welcome back to Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate the Star Wars movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm Alex Robinson from AlexRobinson.fun. Almost did it.
And I'm Tim Barnes from TimBarnesComedy.com.
Welcome back, Tim.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah, happy to be back. A whole new day. How do days work in the I have a lot of questions about time in the Star Wars universe. I don't know if you guys have that question or if you guys have discussed this already, but does everyone have, is there like a universal clock that everyone's going off of?
I think there is a standard that people can refer to, but also it works differently for different people. I don't know. Basically, there's no coherent and satisfying answer, I don't think.
Yeah. I think I've heard something about like Coruscant Standard Time. Like Coruscant's time kind of goes for everything, but I wouldn't look at it too closely.
Yeah, the sun never sets on Coruscant.
Yeah, Coruscant Standard Time totally sounds like it would be the name of like a punk album in the Star Wars universe. Like somebody's
on sale now at Galaxy's Edge.
Well, we are talking about speaking of Galaxy's Edge, the restaurant at the end of the universe. We're at minute 42 of, that was a stretch, but minute 42 of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. It starts with Finn saying that Rey will find him and be safe, and it ends with Poe suggesting that they blow the lead Star Destroyer up, which sounds like a sound idea, a good plan.
Yeah, he's a X-Wing jockey. Every surgeon wants to operate. Every X-Wing pilot wants to blow up a Star Destroyer. That's the way it works.
That's one of those things about Poe in this movie. They kind of play with this idea of like, is this question of like, do you just want me to blow stuff up or whatever? Like, that's all you think this character is about? And I'm kind of like, yeah, that's kind of all I really want to see this character do is blow stuff up. And they're trying to add more to that, which is fun, I guess. But I mostly feel like I would love it if they developed Finn a little more. That's kind of my general thought on the whole movie of like, I'm learning a lot about Poe, but
Well, Tim, I don't know if you were aware that originally Poe was supposed to stay dead in the first one.
Yes, I know that.
Now we basically have two guys competing for leading man in the movie. So
but that's the like. Poe's charming and has his, again, not to keep relitigating this, but Poe is charming and has his, exactly. He can just be the good pilot guy for those pilot scenes, in which we have in every movie. We're going to have, the flying around blowing stuff up scenes, and then he can just be the kind of, the kind of charismatic, charming guy in between, and we don't need really much of a story from him. It's kind of like, Han Solo, we didn't need to know much about Han Solo other than, like, oh yeah, he owes Jabba the Hutt. And then that's kind of it. It comes up every once in a while, and then it's we don't have to know about where he's. I mean, eventually we do. We have a whole movie about where he's from and what he did. But during the original trilogy, it's just like that's his background. And then Luke to kind of Leia too. We don't really go into her story. You know what I mean? Luke's the only one whose kind of story we follow, and so here to try to kind of, I don't know, throw a little bit too much into everybody. There's not enough for everybody's plate, essentially. So Rey obviously has her arc, and we follow that, and that's good. But Finn, who had a built-in arc coming in, like, and we just kind of throw that in the background to have him do, as you said, to have him be like kind of on a C-3PO plot. It's just like, oh yeah, why don't we give him more of the interesting stuff?
Yeah, I don't think Poe didn't need an arc because he seems perfectly happy and seems very good at his job. So what does he need to, Han Solo clearly was terrible at his job. He was owed people money and he was getting boarded all the time, and he needed a change in his life.
That wasn't his job. That was just a hobby. He was like learning, figuring it out. Really, he's a plumber.
And it feels like Poe's
carpenter.
Poe kind of flip-floppy what his dynamic is, because even in the Rise of Skywalker, he has a little bit more of like, oh, he used to sell spice or whatever. You're like, what's going on with this character?
Finn has just so much more
It's like, wait, quickly, there's only an hour left. What's your backstory? I used to be the spice runner. I don't know. Okay, good. Come on. Let's go blow something up now.
Yeah. Well, I heard that originally Ryan Johnson wanted this side adventure to be with Poe and Finn. And then I feel like I heard in an interview him say that he realized that they were too similar as characters. And I remember when I heard that, I thought, I don't think they're necessarily that similar, and everyone loves seeing them together. And if they are similar, let's get some friction between those two. Like, I would love to watch that, and everyone secretly wants to watch them kiss anyway. So why don't you make that the tension? There's so many things.
But Kelly Marie Tran was like, "No, I think Rose should be the center of the story." And everyone's like, "Oh no."
Well, yeah, when you say that, it's so funny that people blame Kelly Marie Tran over, like you were saying in the last episode too, over just like how the character was structurally built. Like, it's not the fault of the person playing that character at all. It's like, you can't, if you don't like Jar Jar Binks, you can't necessarily blame Ahmed Best for Jar Jar Binks. Right. And then, not to compare Kelly Marie Tran to Jar Jar Binks, but we
love them both equally.
Yeah, it's just weird that people want to blame the person acting as opposed to the powers that be.
The suits upstairs. I mean, Finn has so many built-in natural story. Oh, he could go find out about his family. He could go try to help the other people. He could, try to find other people who have ran away. He could try to, there's so much potential in his thing, and to just have him be kind of like, and he's learning a valuable lesson about class warfare in the galaxy. It's like, okay, I guess that was something. Anyway.
Well,
such a waste.
Speaking of Finn, while we're here, that in what sounds like kind of a out of anger. I mean, it is out of anger, but Rose attacks him by saying, "You're a selfish traitor," and I was like, "Oh, like that." She's mad at him. I was like, "Wait a minute." He is a selfish traitor, like, because he is only concerned. But that's like he defected from a different organization, and now is just purely concerned about his own interests and finding his friend, and kind of I was like, oh, that's true. He is a selfish traitor. That's not that should have been a little bit of a I'd like to see him react hurt to that a little bit or something. Like, or it could be like that. Calling George McFly a chicken or whatever it is. Like, every time somebody calls him traitor, he's like, whoa! And like, it really gets him going.
Because obviously this is not the first time he's been called a traitor. He famously got called one by the stormtrooper with the stick in The Force Awakens. Does he get called one in the OCD in me wants him to be called a traitor in all three movies.
Every movie.
And fight Phasma in every movie, because that's what he does. And then he does.
We'll get to that. That's one of my disappointing. We'll get there. As much as I do love Rise of Skywalker, but it really could have used a Phasma to make her like Jason Voorhees, just weird like creature that's like, how does she keep surviving this?
This is how the Disney trilogy feels to me. Dun, 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 dun. Like, it's just it's just need that closure. Anyway,
I imagine that was going to lead into the Star Wars theme when you said that.
Oh, now we have to pay to use all those songs. Oh my gosh.
I'll mix it all up in post, so it's a little weird, like backwards or something. But selfish traitor.
A little comedy from Finn. He can't feel his teeth as a result of his paralysis.
Oh God! So this, I don't know if this pops to your mind with you guys with this scene, but when he says that line about how he can't feel his teeth, it sadly reminds me of a Jar Jar line in The Phantom Menace.
Totally.
When he says that he can't feel his tongue.
Yeah.
And
thank God he didn't go into the whole Bill Cosby, thing. That would have really been
that kind of seals the deal of what I was saying in the last episode of like, oh, that is the role that he's kind of filling in this movie, of that sort of comedic release that is potentially more for children than adults, which is fine. Star Wars is for children. We all know that argument, but it really, that moment in particular kind of hammers that into me.
Yeah.
I guess in the first movie, Finn was the subject to a lot of slapstick gags. You know, Rey hitting him with a stick, and him.
Right.
The droid was the didn't he get zapped by BB-8 or something? Anyway.
Yeah.
That's very true. But he also holds a lightsaber in that movie by the end of it. So Jar Jar never held a lightsaber. You'd think after a character holds a lightsaber, things change a little bit.
Yeah, true.
And
but he can't feel his teeth.
He can't.
Which is a weird thing, because does that mean his tongue is numb, or is it a problem with his? Because you can't. Can you feel? Anyway.
Yeah. Does he usually feel his teeth?
Yeah.
It makes me concerned each time I hear it. I'm just like, wait a minute, can I feel my teeth? I don't know.
That is a shocking thing. I feel like a few times when I've gone to the dentist and they numb my mouth, I do suddenly realize, I guess I do feel my teeth all the time and not realize it, because now I really can't feel my teeth.
Yeah.
Right.
Now everyone listening to this is now suddenly touching their teeth with their tongues to see if they are aware that they can feel their teeth all the time.
I thought every time you go to the dentist, you're like, wrench, where's the wrench? My tongue. And you do the whole bit. And he's like, yes, I've seen The Phantom Menace.
Yeah. They also have that like this sort of rapid fire conversation about light speed, and the minutes that we're talking about here are really just like laying a lot of groundwork. And this minute is definitely laying a lot of groundwork of like, oh, okay, like if you don't understand light speed in the Star Wars universe, we're going to give you a crash course right here, right now, and a little bit of humor about teeth.
Yeah.
Probably why they threw that in for the kids, because like, we need these kids to be laughing, because next couple of minutes are going to be very
it's just going to be all science,
like our tech manual.
Yeah. It's like a joke about teeth, and then it's gravity's rainbow.
It bugs me that they that Finn explains the concept to Rose, and then that instantly they know a lot of details about it, like the fact that it's only the lead ship that's tracking, and if we go to this part of the ship, we'll be able to deactivate it. Like, she only just learned about it a second ago, and now they have a perfect plan to deactivate it.
But it's
obviously wasn't a perfect plan because they screw it up.
Well, yeah, it's almost perfect. If they hadn't dressed up BB-8 in a trash can, anyway. The thing is, like, it's them working it out, them kind of, and I do like this. It's a thing on. I talk about this with Star Trek: The Next Generation a lot. That I like. Some of my favorite parts of that are, like Data and Geordi and either Barclay or Wesley or somebody standing around the table in engineering figuring out the problem. And this is kind of a little like a little thing of that where it's just they're like, oh wait, but it's. They're each supplying a little bit to get the person, they're collaborating and supplying a little bit of information to get to the person to the next point, so then they can kind of, it's like engineering tennis.
Like letting the air out of a balloon.
Exactly. And I like that because they're relating it to another thing. Like he's like, it's active tracking. And she's like, oh, if it's active tracking, then it's this. And he's like, oh, but we can't do this. And then it,
Right. And she's a nerd, a tech nerd. So
the build of, technobabble, and it that them both being them kind of collaborating on that level, and also being like, oh wait, like why do you know that? Like, why are we
in love, or what's going on here? Are you fencing this?
But it is a lot to take in at once, and then I love that then it gets kind of deflated a little bit. Like all right, that's a lot of technobabble. Then cut to Poe being like, wait, what's going on? Like, because they're explaining it to him, and then you have to like rehash it like at another.
A little bit dumber level.
It's like let's summarize that. Let's show them figuring it out, and that's okay. Here's how they get it, and then here's like a little slightly watered down version, so we can explain it.
Now I wish it was like a Simpsons gag where they're like where the FBI agents are trying to get Homer to understand that when I tap your foot, you pretend to be like going through a very elaborate explanation as to what the plan is.
It's like, okay,
like, blow it up.
Rose and I are going to get into a ship, and it's like, and we blow that up. No. We're going to go to Canto Bight and blow that up. No.
Yeah. There was something about this minute where I thought that crossed my mind was like, I really wish that we met Rose at some point before she meets Finn, Like if we could have seen her loss when her sister passed away, unless I'm forgetting something, I don't think that we really saw that before this.
You see her like crying when Finn stumbles in on her. So you do see her for literally like 2 seconds before he comes in.
It's the same minute.
So.
Yeah, because it's like there's a lot kind of you're figuring out this plot about light speed, but then you're also trying to figure out this dynamic with this new character, and it kind of ends up feeling like a lot at once. Trying to figure out what's going on, especially like you guys talked about this little look of like, wait, is there a spark here that will light the fire, that will ignite the flames of romance?
I kind of wish they'd already I know it doesn't work with the plot because Finn has been in a coma the entire time he's been with the Resistance, but it would be kind of nice if it was just kind of like, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll go, Rose will know how to solve this problem. They go, and then they like basically know each other already and are kind of working together as opposed to seeing them have to, work out their relationship or whatever.
Or even just seeing what Rose is doing during that battle. Like, what's her job like? Like, what are the people in that position doing throughout the day?
Right.
Yeah.
It is interesting that Rose isn't introduced until 45 minutes into the film.
Yeah.
So,
I wonder how much of it was because there was an original draft where Finn was part of the kind of bombing run at the beginning, and he was that Rose, like were Paige and Rose essentially the same character that they like, did they go through that together and that's where they bonded and then they came up with this after that? Or I don't know. The world may never know. One day when the Academy Award library opens back up, I'm going to go read this screenplay. I'm telling you.
Was it nominated? The screenplay was nominated?
It was submitted, and I don't know if it was nominated, but it was submitted, and there is confirmed to be a digital copy of it in the Academy Awards library. So,
all right,
you can't take it out, but you have to go sit there and read it on a kind of an iPod on a chain. I mean, an iPad on a chain.
Wow.
And so they can't do that
like
yet.
Citizen
But
Kane.
Yeah. I can see why you moved to California.
Just strictly for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the waiting list.
Yeah. Man, it's costing me a fortune in rent just to read this screenplay.
So one last observation I have about Finn is an unfortunate, a reminder of his unfortunate job as the janitor in the First Order, where he's like, I'm the guy who used to mop it.
Right.
And so leaving aside from the fact that, whatever, but he was on the Finalizer originally. But now he also mopped aboard so he mopped on multiple ships across the fleet.
Right.
Yeah. What? How often does the janitor end up, also being one of the main troopers who goes on a raid on Jakku? Like, is that explained in the expanded universe in the books? Like, was he accidentally there? Does Captain Phasma just always keep tabs like extra hard on the janitors? Because she seems to know a lot about Finn.
It's true.
Yeah.
I think it was his first kind of away team mission. He was, did his basic kind of, janitorial stuff for a while, sanitation for a bit, and then they're like, all right, we're going to try you out on this squad. Come check it out. And then he went out on the squad and he's like, oh, no, I don't want to kill people.
Whoa, I'm just in it for the mopping.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that look that Kylo Ren gives where he kind of pauses and looks at him is like, wait, is that the janitor?
Yeah.
It's not anything special. It's just like the body looks a lot like the Janitor.
Yeah. Doesn't that
it occurred to me, maybe that's why he gets so upset about the blood on his helmet, because he's like, "Oh, I gotta clean this now." It never occurred to me that was blood before. I've been mopping this up all this time. I never even thought that was blood on those helmets.
I do want to see the Stormtrooper mop, though, because we see, especially in this era, we see a lot of this kind of the new, kind of very sleek, again, Apple-inspired design. Yeah. And so I would like to see the way that they have, the white and black blasters and all this other new stuff. I would like to see the mop, the Finn's mop,
the white and black thing that you squeeze the mop, the water out. Why do they even have janitors in an age of droids? Why on earth would you waste?
Maybe he just manages a mop droid. Like maybe he doesn't actually, move the mop himself. He just kind of, keeps tabs on it.
Stands there and watches it. Hey, there's a spot over there. You missed that spot.
He's checking his phone, just like activates the droid.
Each mop droid is assigned one janitor to keep control tabs on it. Yeah, it's a living.
Yeah.
Yes, but he's the janitor and he knows the supremacy, which is a lucky break.
Mm-hmm. There is we talked about this a little bit already, but like I do like Poe's blow it up brain kind of coming back. I like that it's consistent within this, and it's and he's good. Like all the as far as I can think of in this movie, all the characters that have to do, they end up with funny stuff, do well at funny stuff. Like they're comedically good. The actors, with I don't know. There are possible exceptions coming up, but so far everybody that we've talked to, the funny bits that they get are funny, and it works, and kind of that deadpan kind of Poe being like, we're gonna blow it up, like. I like it.
Not a fan of that guy, the taxi driver guy, who's like, they parked the car here.
I love Slow and Low. He's one of my favorites.
And I guess maybe there's a parallel, because doesn't Han have a line in The Force Awakens when they show the plans of the he says something like there's always a way to blow it up or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
When they're looking at so maybe there's some Han parallels there.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Like, well, our old blow it up guy died. We need a new blow it up guy. You're it.
That's a story. I wish Han had taken Poe under his wing as a mentor to have him be the new blow it up guy. Don't get too old for this kind of thing, kid.
You like blowing stuff up? Let me tell you all the things I've blown up in my day.
Bunkers, spaceships, planes,
relationships,
Nazis who opened up arcs. Tim, were you aware of the new cast of Star Wars actors before had you seen Oscar Isaacs in things before Star Wars, or
I'm trying
had you seen Attack the Block, or?
Yeah, I had seen Attack the Block. I love that. Like, I was really excited about John Boyega. I don't recall. I probably did, but I'm trying to remember some of the bigger movies that Oscar Isaac was in before this.
It's hard to remember a time before he was famous.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. That's kind of it of the new cast. I'd never seen.
Well, I guess Hux we've saw in a lot of stuff. I didn't realize it.
Well, yeah, he's a chameleon. Donald Gleason is totally a guy who afterwards you're like, oh, wait a minute, that was him, like in a million things. And so I may very well have seen him in things before I saw this, but had no
he's
clue.
a Weasley.
Lor Santeca, the most interesting character in the whole, one of the most interesting characters in the whole franchise. Let me tell you, I think the most interesting characters are him, Sifo Dyas, and Ochi. I am obsessed with Ochi. Because the first time that I saw The Rise of Skywalker, had no memory of Ochi afterwards, and then I saw it on Disney Plus, and when they go deep in the Ochi, and I was like, how did I miss this? And he is one of the most pivotal characters of that movie, and now I'm obsessed. Like, he has the same importance to the sequel trilogy that Sifo Dyas has to the prequel trilogy, and nothing about both from the movies. It's kind of crazy.
And they turned out to be the same character. That's what they should have done, is have it revealed that it was Sifo Dyas.
It is Lor Santeca too, and it's this weird, like, wait a minute, how is he all these?
It was I who.
I would absolutely. I already subscribed to Disney Plus, but I would be a fan if they thought about doing the Ochi adventures.
Same. Let's work on it.
I was just reading the Darth Vader comics. He's in those as in it as a main
Ochi?
character. Oh yeah, were you not aware of that? Yeah,
I was not aware of this. Yeah. What is Ochi doing?
At one point, So it's spoiler alert in case anyone hasn't read these year-old Marvel comics. After
look at that.
Whoa.
It's a Sith dagger.
Wait a minute. Now I know where I can find the chrysanthemum. I don't even remember what that thing's called. The dyad? Yeah. Who knows?
I have very loving parents who don't know much about Star Wars.
Brag much?
But they at least have like listened to a bit of the Star Wars podcast that I do with a couple friends. Mm-hmm. And I was just riffing about like I am genuinely obsessed with Ochi, but it is part joking. I'm just obsessed with the absurdity of him in some ways.
Sure.
And maybe the comics clear a lot of stuff up. And so I was just talking a lot about it. And so then my dad figured out some way to get a 3D printed Ochi dagger.
Wow.
Which I think still needs to be painted, so it's just gray. But yeah, if you need to find the location of any
Sith
special
artifacts.
Yeah. I'm your guy.
Excellent.
Cool.
I'm totally, picturing you now, like out in Manhattan, just being like, okay, where, what? Oh, okay. Oh, 53rd. Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah. Oh, apartment 3G.
Well, yeah, you should definitely check out the Vader comics then, because Ochi's in them.
You sold me.
Well, that's all I have for 42.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this continues. They start explaining the plan to Poe today, and it kind of goes into tomorrow, so it continues into that. Tim, did you have anything else specific to 42?
Let's see. Do I don't think so. That kind of is it. It's another scene that ends, and it's like, and I guess it cuts, and you go to another scene with a different character. You're in a room with Poe, but it's just more talking about hyperspace and laying groundwork.
Don't spoil anything. Don't spoil anything. People gotta.
It'd be funny if the whole like a good 40 minutes now we're just them explicitly detailing things about hyperspace. When you see the coefficient for in your mass, and then you bring in
very hard sci-fi for this one.
Yeah.
Really undermined everyone's expectations.
TED Talk. Well, if you would, here's the thing: if you were just listening to this show, as many of you are, why not go check out StarWarsMinute.com/YouTube? You can see Tim just held up his Sith dagger, his Ochi dagger, and you can see it. You can see all kinds of stuff. Sometimes we'll throw in little, visual gags and whatever. And we're doing YouTube this year, so it's all well and good. Come check it out. And
do like a Steve Martin Ochi dagger through the head, kind of a.
Ochi.
Excuse me.
And whether or not you can check us out there, check us out here tomorrow for a brand new episode of Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.